Have you ever heard of a menopause tax? Well, I had not either until I met Siam Maxie. She is my guest on the podcast today, and she has been doing a lot of research about how the menopause journey is affecting women financially. And I tell you that I've talked to a lot of people that are experts in this field from a health perspective, from a mental health perspective. And this is the first time that I really thought about how this menopausal journey is affecting my pocketbook and the way and how much money I'm bringing into my household. So it was enlightening. So good that this is just part one of our conversation. So if I've got your attention now and you're wondering, whoa, wait a second, I didn't know that this whole journey was costing me money. Well, then this is the episode for you. So stay tuned for my conversation with Siam Maxie. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Melanated Midlife podcast. I know you are probably like, gosh, all she wants to do is talk about menopause, but you are in for a different perspective on how menopause is rocking your world. I am joined today by the menopause catalyst, who is Siam Maxie. And she is another menopause expert, but not in the way that you're expecting, because we're going to talk about financial impact. We're going to talk about all of the aspects of this that you probably don't realize are happening as menopause hits. So, Siam Maxie, my dear, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Akilah, for having me. Hey, audience, how y'all doing?
You know, they somewhere right now they're listening to this and they're just like, oh my God, what are we talking about? So I want to jump in. This is my favorite question to ask all of the guests that come onto the podcast because we are of a certain age. We are going through different experiences. So I want you to tell me personally, what has midlife meant to you?
Hmm, midlife. Interesting word. Midlife to me is the moment that I realized life was changing in such a way that I had no control. My body was changing, my friend circles was changing, my income was changing, my network was changing, and they were changing in a way that I had no control over, no matter what I did, no matter how I did it. So for me, midlife is a recalibration.
I like that.
Okay, tell me what that was.
I like it because I feel that because yeah, there are things about my own experience that I've had to, and I talk about this in my book, where I've had to let some things go, and not just physical things, my mentality about some things. And it really is about kind of, you remember old school TVs? We'd have to make the adjustments and get the signal just right so you could get a crisp picture. That's kind of what it's been like, where there's a lot that I've had to peel away, certain layers that I've been allowed to peel away, certain things that weren't screwed in the right way. I had to, make those adjustments. So I that recalibration word, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, good. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, I'm also curious because here we are. We're going to talk about what you're teaching us about another impact of menopause in our world. So, with your personal journey, what has it been like? I mean, have you had this beautiful awakening during menopause where there's some bumps in your road? How has it gone for you personally?
No, mine was abrupt. Mine was very abrupt. So one day I was at work and I was talking to a coworker. Mid sentence, I forgot what I was saying. I just nudged it off and was like, "Oh, that was interesting." But it happened again and again, and it was followed by fatigue, and it was followed by brain fog, and it was just like days that I just didn't want to get up. And I'm like, "Do I have the flu? What's going on?" And I went to see a doctor. They said, "Well, Miss Maxie, I don't know what's going on, but we don't see anything wrong with you here." And so I nudged it off, and then another week went by where I had days that I just couldn't get out of bed, and I was like, and then before you knew it, 60, 45, 60 days had gone by, and I had not received a pay stub. So, just a little bit about my background. I'm in the mortgage industry. I am 100% commission only. And if you don't close anything, you don't earn anything. And so I was like, where's my pay? And I was like, wow, I haven't talked to anybody in a while. And I was ignoring phone calls. I wasn't returning phone calls. I wasn't doing my regular marketing and things like that because I was tired and I was forgetful. And I didn't even realize it until I was like, am I late on anything? Oh my God, my bills. But they were on auto pay, and thank God they transfer money from my savings to my checking to keep everything afloat. But what if I didn't have that? That's the tax women pay that they don't realize they're paying. When you're
Mm.
taking off work or coming in late or just PTO in it, it's one thing. But when you're 100% commission, you don't have those FMLAs and things of that nature. So when you don't answer the phone, you don't take any food home. And
Yeah.
you just don't. And so that's the menopause tax. We call it the menopause tax. And so that's what I actually share with women is it may start off really minor, but brain fog can affect your income. It can affect your savings because here's what people don't say is when that happens and the doctor tell you nothing or you just push through, oh, it'll go away. Oh, you're buying stuff on the internet to try to fix it. I remember they said this'll work. Let me try this ashwagandha, that's going to help with that. Let me get some ABC. And you're trying these things, and it's called trial and error spending. You're spending this money to fix a problem that you don't really know you have. You just
Mm.
know, I forgot something, or I'm really tired. Or you're trying everything everyone else that's tired is saying. Oh, it's just your vitamin D. Get you some vitamin D. Well, is it just your vitamin D? And
Yeah.
do you have melanin in your skin? You need D3, not just D, and you need your K2. But see, they're not saying all of that. So you
Mhm.
spending money trying to figure out what's going on with you. So for me, I was at work, that started happening. And that moment when I realized something just wasn't right, I went to the doctor. The doctor couldn't find anything wrong, but I knew something was wrong. I missed the whole two and a half, three paychecks.
Oh,
There was
no.
something wrong because I'm commissioned only. So if
Right.
I don't not talking to clients, if I'm not dealing with realtors, I'm not generating any income. And so that's when I realized this is a financial thing. I never knew it was menopause. I just knew the symptoms, and them symptoms was costing me money.
Okay, 3 or 4 paychecks. I I would be homeless missing that many paychecks. I mean, let's be real, I know a lot of folks will probably say, "Oh, no big deal." Oh, no, it would be devastating in this household to miss that much money. And so I'm listening to what you're saying about going on the internet, ordering all the things. I can echo all of that. Going to a doctor, you are going to your medical professional and you're pouring out all of whatever random symptoms, and they're saying, "Sorry, nothing's wrong.
Correct.
You're perfectly healthy," but
Yes,
you know in your heart that this is not how I'm supposed to feel, or it isn't how I felt up to this point in my life.
that is
And
correct.
yeah, I think that's a big piece is we immediately go and try to doctor on ourselves
Mhm.
because whomever we're talking to, they're not connecting the dots. And I don't know about you, but I have several girlfriends that have struggled with that term midlife
Yes.
because to them, midlife means I'm officially old. So they don't
Oh,
claim it. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, once we hit 50, and that's not necessarily the magic threshold, but I'm just like, once you're past 50, I mean, what are you calling it? I'm like, okay, but are you just saying this is my next phase? This is my this is my blooming. I don't know, but so many women will just immediately reject that. Nope, not me. Don't put that on me. And I'm like,
and that's
okay,
the
well,
reason why my voice has to be louder because especially women of color, we like I actually post something on LinkedIn that said, "Black don't crack,
hmm
but we hide." We run, we hide, we do everything to avoid what is natural. It's
hmm
inevitable. If you're
yeah,
living long enough, you will age. But age doesn't mean death. It doesn't mean no life. It just
yeah.
means you're well rounded now. You have a little bit of more maturity about you. And with age comes wisdom oftentimes. And so we have to first change the our mindset, the way we see the word midlife. And you're right. when people know that I'm gonna have a event on midlife, they would run. Oh my God. It was like, "Oh, nobody need that." One young lady told me that she didn't need to go to a conference to tell her that she was getting old. She already knew that. And I'm like, but I don't talk about you getting old. I talk about you getting better.
Mm, that part.
I
That
talk
part.
about you women in their 50s thrive after they get through the hump. Once you
Yeah.
realize what's going on with your body and you stop paying the menopause tax, you tend to flourish.
Mhm.
It's a whole it's I call it the butterfly effect. There's something beautiful that happens once you accept the inevitable. But you have to be
Mm.
accepting of it first. Once you accept it, then you navigate all the challenges and some, especially with African American women, and I'm Afro Latina, we have it the longest, the hardest, and the most we have, and the costiest. And one reason it costs us so much, and I don't know if that's a word. Did I say it right?
We go roll with it. Yeah. I mean,
Y-
like you said, it's an additional tax.
It is, and because we age so differently than our counterpartners, we tend to mask it differently. So we go suck it, tip it, nip it. They do that. They've been doing that forever. But we
Mhm.
do it when we hit midlife so that you don't know that we're aging. Okay, well,
Yeah.
it's natural. It's okay. And we don't age with the wrinkles because of the melanin. So we won't get some of the things that other
Yeah.
ethnicities get.
You're right. I do see a difference with the way midlife is talked about and treated with different groups. Again, in this world with other African American women, African women, like you said, Afro Latino women. I mean, there is a certain way that we look at it differently because when we look in the mirror, we still see the same face staring back at us from 20 years ago. I mean, there might be some more lusciousness with the body, but the
Come
face
on.
itself, it doesn't wrinkle or sag the same way that you
Right.
might see in other
Mhm.
groups. But at the same time, the conversations around aging with us, sometimes it's about what's going on the inside, some of the
Exactly.
the struggles. Oh, I won't say just new education about what's happening. And I hear other groups of women that are not of color and it's all external
Mhm.
concerns. I
Mhm.
gotta feel this in, I gotta lift this up or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's very interesting the contrast in the conversations between women of color and those that are not about how we're viewing this season of life.
Yes, I agree. I agree totally.
Yeah. I want to go back to that terminology that you used about the menopause tax. So, what is all included in that tax? I mean, because I'm sitting here saying, "Oh yeah, I went to the internet and I found all kind of things to start buying when I first started getting hot flashes because I'm like, it cannot be this miserable. There's gotta be a magic pill that is going to make all this end. I mean, eventually I did find some things that work for me, but what all is included in that menopause tax that you're referring to?
So out of pocket expenses. So first it starts with going to the doctor. A lot of us don't go. And because we don't go, we pay a tax on it later in life because we have more ailments than other people who do go. That's not a race thing. That's just a body thing. If you go to the
Mhm,
doctor regularly and see what's going on with you, when you start getting the hot flashes, now, mind you, it may be a doctor who don't know because that's a thing too. But what if it isn't? And so one of the things is out of pocket spending. You're spending for medical treatments. You're going to doctor and doctor because unfortunately, Black women are misdiagnosed, underdiagnosed, or they just don't do treatment. And because of that, that's a part of the menopause tax. So that's an additional part that we pay that other ethnicities may not pay. So those are two things. The other one is trial and error spending. We spend a lot of money trying to find out what's going on with us instead of seeking. And oftentimes we don't know. Like I said, we'll go to the doctor says everything is well, and it isn't. But that's when you have to know yourself.
mhm.
You know if you're not feeling well. And if your body is changing and you know that you used to could run a block and now you can barely walk the block, then let's see a doctor to find out why are you so short-winded? What is going on? Once you pay that though, it's a specialist. And so you have that out of pocket money for the specialist. Sometimes that specialist don't know. So the menopause tax are just additional funds that you spend trying to figure out what's going on.
Mm.
It's
You
not
know,
one cocktail for everyone. You have
that is
to
true.
play with a lot of different things in a lot of different ways before you actually find the right mix for you. And that's why they call it the menopause tax.
Now, let me ask you this because when I first started noticing changes, gosh, and now I'm trying to think. I got to do all my math about where was I working, living, and all that. Just try to figure out, how old I was. But I guess I was probably about mid 40s
Okay.
when I was able to really put my finger on something was changing. Wasn't quite using that word menopause yet, but I now, in hindsight, know that's what was happening. And I did delay going to get an actual professional involved. So, like you said, you go to the internet, you start buying all the things or whatever. Then, by the time I make it to make a doctor's appointment, I'm frustrated by then because I've let all this time pass. I've done the trial and error and then dump all the symptoms on the doctor. And they're like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. You're perfectly healthy. And I'm like, I'm still miserable. I'm not sleeping. I'm this, I'm that, or whatever. And you go down the list of things. Should what is better? Is it the trial and error that or that we have to start taking notes of when we're feeling these changes? Would it be a better financial decision to start off going straight to a doctor? If you had to do your experience all over again, how would you have handled it to get the best financial outcome?
Well, I would have handled it exactly the same way. So the
Mm,
problem is lack of education. So for me, I never heard of perimenopause, and I was
yeah,
in perimenopause. And unfortunately, I chose a doctor. She's a black doctor. We're around the same age, and she had no idea. And that's the unfortunate part is sometimes we do the right thing, we go to the doctors, but because there's so little training that the doctors don't know. And
yeah.
so that's the bad part. But I wouldn't do anything different as it relates to going to the doctor. Soon as I had my first episode, I was like, I nudged it. But the second time, I was like, wait a minute, that's not me. Because all my life, people told me I had a memory like an elephant. And at
Ah,
that moment, I was like, well, I just forgot what I was getting ready to say. So I don't know if the elephants do that. And so it was that experience for me. And it just continued on. So going to the doctor, when the doctor said she didn't know, my thing was, okay, send me to a neurologist.
mm,
That
yeah,
was my next thing. I was like, "Are you sure you can't find out anything? Okay, who can you refer me to?" She was like, "Well, I don't." Okay, so I'm googling and it says neurologist. Send me to the neurologist because if it's something wrong with my mind, if I had a stroke, if some other health condition happened to me, I would know. And the
yeah.
worst part of my scenario is I found out through a coworker who snapped out on me that I was in perimenopause. She was mean, she was ugly, she was disrespectful. And I was like, Lord, I'm very faith filled. And I was like, Lord, she don't know me. She about to get cut. I'm like, I'm from Chicago. When people talk to you like that, you just and I was like, so I'm gonna need some grace right here. And he said, leave, apologize and leave. I was like, maybe I need to remind you. She was rude to me. You
I'm the
apologize.
victim. I'm the victim here.
I was like, I'm not hearing the Lord. And my other coworker who sits outside when I had the first episode with, she's like, Sam, just come here. Just Sam, come here. Because she could tell I was revved up. And the girl stood up, put her hands on her hip, rolled her. I was like, oh, we getting ready to have a black fight in the white office. It was like, my coworker was like, come here. And the Holy Spirit said, go to your office and type what she said. So I put hot flashes. It was 103 degrees in the office, her off. It was 103 degrees outside, and she had the heater on in her office. And I remember so clearly that I looked at the thermostat and it said 70 degrees. And I said, why does this girl have the heater on? So I started it. Why do you have the heater on when it's 103 degrees outside? And she stood up and she said, because I ain't in menopause. I'm thinking, what menopause got to do with this? Because
Whoa.
I'm ignorant. I don't know. So I'm just like, well, you didn't have to say it like that. Yes, I did. You not come in here and ask me about my. I'm like, I'm about to cut this girl, Lord. Please help me. And so he told me to go to my office, and I seen all these symptoms, and I was like, oh, I get it. You want me to tell her she is in menopause? All right, all right. He was like, keep reading. And so I started reading, and I saw the brain fog, and I saw the videos and I was like, wait a minute, what's perimenopause? What is this? And so, because I was still having a cycle. So I'm thinking, it's not me. Lord have mercy. He showed me. I finally got to that point where it was me. And I was like, so we both in it. I
Mm.
still need to tell her. I
Oh my
still need
God.
to tell her. And that's just what happened. And so learning that, I'm like, I wouldn't do anything different because I would have never found out what was truly happening in the time span that I found out had I not taken the steps. So I'm forever grateful and I wouldn't do anything different.
Yeah, I'm laughing that you the Holy Spirit told you.
Yeah, he did. He was like,
I'm like, "Okay, that you're right," because I am seeing that. I was like, "Whoa, wait a second. She came at me.
yeah,
So why am I the one that now needs to go and check myself?" But you're right because it's like floating puzzle pieces and you don't realize how they all fit together until
absolutely.
you're forced to look at it through that lens. And you mentioned something very important that about still menstruating while this is starting out because
Hmm.
one thing that shocked me, I had an actual menopause doctor that, was on the podcast, and she was reiterating that perimenopause can start in your 30s.
That is absolutely
And
correct.
that shocked me, but as I went back in my personal history, thinking of changes or things that you're feeling, and you just assume you just stressed out. Like you said, I'm just not getting enough sleep at night, or I'm just not going for enough walks in the sunshine, or every little thing that probably your grandmother taught you once upon a time. And you're like, okay, I'm just not doing the things to take care of myself. But when she's putting this into an actual timeline of a woman's life. And you realize, wait a second, okay, when I was in my mid 30s, I was experiencing this, just didn't have a word for it. Then when I got to my 40s, assumed that I was just in a high stress job and that's why I was feeling that way. And then it was when I think when COVID hit and we were in that isolation, everybody was working from home for the first time. And there was just a whole lot that we felt was out of our control. It was complete, like the upside down for our world, not knowing what was coming and all of these things. So, what I was feeling, full blown menopause by that point, I equated it to whatever I was feeling, the anxiety, the fear to that COVID pandemic period. And come to find out, oh no, homegirl was in full blown menopause by then. And it's like, okay. And I was doing very unhealthy things to cope because I just assumed, okay, well, this is what everybody else is doing. Keeping the same pajamas on for 3 days in a row, drinking a margarita right after my coffee because, hey, I'm not leaving the house. Now I realize that that was all me trying to self medicate and cope with what I was going through on the inside while the world around us was completely upside down.
Understood. So sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no. But let me ask you this. So with looking at your own timeline, and this is where you are in life, you were guided to go and just, Google all these symptoms and you had
Mhm.
that light bulb moment. What did you start doing differently from that point when you're like, maybe it's me. Maybe this is something happening internally. What changed? What did you put into action then?
So, no, that's not what happened. After I saw it on the
Okay.
internet that day,
Uh-huh.
I reached out to my doctor and I said, I need to see you in your office tomorrow morning.
Mm,
And I said, I watched these videos on YouTube and this is what it told me. I said, can you test me for these things? And she said, no, I can't. And I'm like, you're my PCP. What are you talking about?
yeah.
And she said, I need to send you to the gynecologist. She's an internist, my PCP. And she said, I need to send you to the gynecologist. And she said, and she can order these tests for you. What I can do is this. And so I was like, wrong answer. You're an internist. You can order these things. So I Googled it and I showed her and we called ACA. We did a whole bunch of stuff. And so that day I was angry because she had no clue what was happening or what the tests were. And we're around the same age. So I
Oh,
did the things that I needed to do that she was able to do. And I went home. I was angry. I was very angry. So I went online and I found a menopause course. So I took it. And then I found another menopause course through the National Society of Menopause. And I said, "Do I have to be a doctor to take this?" And they said, "No." I said, "Okay, I'm going to take this class." So I took it. And then I found GGS, which is Girls Gone Strong Certified Menopause class. It showed you things because the first one showed you things on the medical side. Well, I'm not a physician, I'm not in that, but I needed to understand. I wish right now I could show you. I have a diaphragm of a woman's uterus, ovaries, all that. It was serious for me because I was
Mhm.
pissed. And then I found GGS and I took that class. So for me, soon as I found out, I went and got certified to be a certified menopause specialist because what they didn't know, I needed to know and understand so that I could share it with other women.
Mhm.
So that's what
O
I did.
okay, so you this is okay, totally not what I expected because you took a class, honey.
I took some classes.
I'm thinking of the clarity that you had to have to just number 1, find these things. I mean, to Google your symptoms and say, I'm feeling this, feeling that, or whatever, that's one part of it. But then to also be able to go further down that journey and find educational resources. I'm very am impressed, but also jealous because I ain't find none of that. I was fending for myself for a very long time.
Oh, wow, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
hey, like
but you know what? When you're called to do something, because see, the Lord spoke to me and told me to go to the computer. So, of course,
mm,
He's going to put all the resources that you need, and it's up to you to see where you go. My first inkling after I spent all that time was to call the doctor office after hours, mind you, and say, "I need to see you in your office. You,
yeah,
you booked. It don't matter. I'll sit and wait." And I did. I waited like an hour and a half to see her for her to squeeze me in. But we
yeah.
needed to have this transparent conversation because I didn't understand why us being the same age, being the same race, being the same build, like we had so much in common, you couldn't tell me what was happening with my body. I had to learn it on the internet. That was a problem for me. And so when she wasn't able to give me this and she's trying to pawn me off to someone else, that's not what the internet said. I
Mm,
was like, okay, Lord, how can I find out what's going on with me? How can I learn more? Because I'm a learner by nature,
yeah.
and so it's like, so what do I do? And it was right there, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's a 5-day course, self-paced. I did it that night,
Mm,
and I was like, didn't understand most of it, so went to Amazon, my favorite place, and ordered the diaphragm. It was like, wait a minute, I don't even know what this is. What? I know the ovary, I know the cervix, I know the uterus because I have a child. I've been there, but all this other stuff. What are you talking about? The amygdala is in your brain. Yeah, yeah, but estrogen is in your brain. What do you mean? I'm losing estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Wait a minute, what are you talking about? Where is that? And so you get this diaphragm and you're saying, okay, where's the estrogen?
yeah.
You don't see it. Where's this? You don't see it, and you're thinking what they're saying and what this look like doesn't match, and so it takes you deeper. And so for me, I started going down what I thought was going to be a rabbit hole. But when I took the class, I was like, oh my God, estrogen affects all of my body. That's the brain fog. Because I didn't have night sweat. I didn't have hot flashes.
Oh.
I say I didn't have mood swings, but you asked my husband, he said something different. So we're
Mhm.
divorced. So, you go through these things though, and you don't realize they're connected to their hormones. So you don't
Mhm.
realize they're connected to your uterus. You're
Yeah.
thinking, I just had a baby, my ovaries are gone, my cervix, but you don't think of your brain. You don't think of your skin. My skin, I had something called dermatitis, and that's when you break out. And I would just break out in hives. And even now, when it's hot outside, people perspire. Now I tingle.
Mm.
And here's the thing: these things affect you in multiple ways. So it affects you socially,
Yes.
emotionally. So you hear a lot of women talking about when they started, they had to get an antidepressant. No, you needed some estrogen. They need to give you an estrogen patch and things of that nature. And so you go through all of these various things and you don't know. So for me, I like to always bring it back home. I went down a rabbit hole to learn. I needed to learn what was happening with my body and how losing estrogen, how losing progesterone, how losing testosterone was affecting my word fluency, my fatigue, my ringing in the ear, my skin conditions. Well, if you have estrogen throughout your entire body and now you're depleted because you're going through menopause, then yeah, something gonna get thrown off.
Mhm.
Something's gonna happen and it affects each individual differently. Now there might
Yeah.
be some similar, but it's up to 100 different symptoms. 100. Now, in that 100 per Siam, gonna be clear, probably 55 of them are actually menopause related. The other 30, 45, in my opinion, is age related.
Mhm.
Because men go through some of this too.
Yes, they do.
So you have
They
to
do.
think, oh, well, a man is going through it. It can't be just this, but they're not going through what we're going. We're losing everything instantaneously. So when you get tested, which is costly, insurance doesn't cover it most of the time. A lot of the tests, it definitely doesn't cover the care that you need to balance your hormones. So this is the menopause tax. This is
Mm.
the financial impact of menopause. 1 in 10 women walk away from their position. 1 in 4 step away from promotions and different things like that. They take time off. They exhaust their PTO. A lot of women just leave the workforce altogether. And that's why you see so many starting their own business is because they no longer could confine to the rules of the workplace. I was listening to Sherry Shepherd the other day. You know who she is, right? Talk show
Mhm.
host. Yes,
Yes.
I love her. So she's been going through menopause and she's been honest about it. 1 in 4 women will lose a tooth. What? 1 in 4 women would lose a tooth. Well, guess what? When you lose a tooth, your insurance only covers a small fraction to get a new one. That's out of pocket. And she would joke about it, joke about it. So I DM'd her a couple of times. And so after her show ended, she went on this rant. And you can put it on your podcast show, people, where I'll email it to you when we get off. She went on this rant about nobody told her all the symptoms you could have. Well, she never mentioned them before because fear of losing her job. Like it's
Mm.
one thing to joke about a tooth falling out or having not hot flashes. It's one thing to talk about that. It's another thing to talk about you get dried out in your vagina.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not going to go on TV and you talk about that. How vertigo is a real thing. People just get dizzy for no reason.
No
It's
reason.
all attached to menopause. And if you're working and you're in a corporate position, you're there with all of these other professional men. You're not going to be
Mm,
talking about estrogen.
you're not. You're not. And I'll echo what you're saying about being in the that corporate setting because when I feel like I was in the real brunt of the hot because I did have horrible hot flashes. They were constant as well. And at that time when it was probably at its peak, I was in a corporate role where I had to travel on site
Oh,
to, across my region for in-person meetings. And so the stress of travel and keeping up with airlines and going through TSA and everything. And then you got to sit in front of somebody and look professional and talk like you can kind of make sense. And on top of that, I'm turning purple because 500 degrees hot. My
mhm.
hair is all over, and you're still all of this mentally. I'm embarrassed because nobody around me understands. I'm around a bunch of men. And not only a bunch of men, but men that are much younger than me, where they don't even, if I asked them to define menopause, they probably couldn't say what that
That's right.
was. So nobody was sympathetic to what I was going through. So just like you're saying, instead of talking about it and explaining, hey, this is why I look this way, this is why I'm fumbling over my words, instead, I just kept it to myself. I kind of knuckled through it the best I could. And who knows what things were said about me behind my back or after you leave those interactions. But I'm pretty sure none of them were people thinking, oh, I bet I know what's going on with her. I'm almost 100% positive that there was no one that was speaking in my defense in
Right,
any of those
right.
situations. So I get it.
Because of that, that's the menopause tax.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, if you Google it, the economic impact of menopause right now in the U.S., according to 2023 statistics, it was costing the U.S. economy $26.6 billion. You can Google that. Just said that out your mouth. It
Hmm.
erodes women's confidence. When your confidence is affected, guess what else is impacted? Your money. When your
Yes.
money is impacted, your financial stability is impacted. When your financial stability is impacted, guess what else? Your family is impacted. When your family is impacted, guess what? You left the company, the corporation is impacted.
Yeah.
Okay, so when a corporation is impacted, health insurance is impacted. Why? Because you're no longer doing it, or it's not covering the things you need. So it's see the ripple effects. It's
Yeah.
hitting everything. So that when the health insurance is impacted, guess what? That impacts the entire economy.
That's
Right now,
amazing.
women's silence around menopause. $150 billion across the globe because currently there's a billion plus women in menopause. And so
A
this is not a
billion?
United States.
A billion.
1.1 billion women are in menopause. Check the numbers. The
When you
global
put it that
impact of
way,
the silence is $150 billion.
that is amazing.
Yeah, just in the US it's 26.6 billion. So when you're looking at those numbers, you're saying there is an economic impact of menopause. And menopause has a ripple effect that affects a woman's income, her career, her family, her lifestyle, her savings. And when you leave your corporate job, that that stops your 401k from growing. There's no more matches. Oftentimes women when they leave, they take their 401k. Those are penalties that you're going to pay if you haven't reached 59 and a half. So all of those things, no one is thinking about them. They're not talking about them. But menopause is not just economic. I mean, not just health. It's
Mhm.
economic. It's not just a health issue. It is a financial issue. And more people need to realize it, number one, so awareness. And then let's have a conversation.
Okay, so let's say the woman that is listening to this right now, you have gotten their
Mhm.
attention by thinking of all of the different ways that they pretty much have to shrink in both their career, in their social circles, all these different ways because they're dealing with these changes. And like you said, it erodes their confidence. It makes them second guess, should I go out there and, do whatever, XYZ, be more visible because you don't know what's gonna go wrong that particular moment. I know for me, it was, will I do I need to have I was always having a change of clothes, no matter what. When I went out, left the house, it was having something because I was going to sweat through whatever. I also talking about the economic impact. I invested in a ton of fans, portable fans. So no matter where I was, it was a
That was a fan.
handheld or it was something I could prop up on the desk in front of me. So I had to mentally plan this out for every time I left the house, every time I was going to be in front of people that I had these things to cope. So if the woman listening to this right now is saying, "Oh, yeah, that's me. I'm dealing with all of that." How do you work with women now? How do you educate them to just navigate this with this new financial lens?
So I do it in a couple of different ways. One way is I've created a three-pillared workshop where we talk about the money drain. Where's the money leaking? Where are you having this trial and error spending? Where is it? So we talk about that in the first one. In the second one, we talk about the decision gap, how menopause affects the ability to make sound decisions. You said earlier how you made a lot of decisions without thought. And so we talk about that decision gap. And then the last one is called the equity bridge. The reason we call it the equity bridge is because you can find different ways. Like some women, if you have a house, you can pull the equity out. It'll help you balance the time you need to go take off. It'll help you put the extra money that you need. I call it a flexible plan. You know how you have emergency funds? I have a flexibility fund. This fund is strictly for, I don't want to call it a menopause fund because sometimes it's not menopause, sometimes it's perimenopause, and sometimes it's just you wilding out. So let's keep it a buck. That's what it is sometimes. And so, but if you have that flexibility fund, you're able to do different things with that. So the equity bridge allows you to do that and continue to build wealth on your 401k. Another thing we do is show you how to borrow against your 401k instead of withdrawing it. So when you're able to do that, that takes away a lot of the penalties that you will lose. And then policy. policy is so important, and we don't realize how much power we actually have. So 64% of the workforce is midlife right now, not just women, men as well. And so when you look at the, what is it called, gray silver, silver gray, or silver fox, I can't remember what they call it. It's those, it's the Gen X's.
Right, right,
We're it. And so we're talking about wealth creation. And so in this workshop, we show you different ways to grow your wealth while you're in this battle so that you don't have to quit your job. Or if your menopause get to the point where you do have to, you'll have a cushion. I took an 18-month sabbatical.
Ooh,
I took an
that
18
sounds
month sabbatical.
that sounds glorious.
It wasn't because I didn't know what the hell was going on with me, and I thought the doctors just wasn't telling me I was getting ready to die. So, I wanted to go ahead and wow out a little bit, make sure my son was taken care of, getting the right IL, what is it called? The IL Universal Life Insurance, having that in place. So, making sure the right deposits was going into that just for protection. So we talk about, well, bridging the gap is, I call it the equity bridge, so that you don't have to. So that's one way. And then the other way is I offer a conference once or twice a year where we talk, we bring a panel of doctors, therapists. When I say therapists, it's mental health as well as sexual health. I bring a tax strategist, a financial advisor, and then myself, where we talk about the various things that's happening. So you go from menopause, but you go from the health aspect of it to the wealth aspect of it. And so we don't leave anything out. It's a half day conference. We're going to have it this year, October 15th. I think it's going to be held at the Deluxe Theater. I'm still trying to confirm that, but we definitely have the date and time together. And so it is a cost to it, but I mean, you're spending money anyway. So, because what
Right.
happens oftentimes, let's keep it a buck, we don't like to spend money on some things. And so I offered it 10 times last year for free.
Mm,
And when you hear the word at no cost, people tend to think it's no value. And then when they found out it was, and the doctor said, if you continue to do that, we need to do this a little differently, then we are charging. We're working on the price right now. It's $97 plus, and I think it's $197 for VIP. And trust me, with the VIP package, like I said, I wish I'd have put some things together. The doctors make sure they give you peptides and hair loss, because hair loss is real. And, for black women,
yes,
it's our crown. So,
yes,
we're going to deal with that. We have the trichologist that shows up that talks about it. People don't realize the dental part of it. Like I told you, Sherry Shepherd lost her tooth. 1 in 4 women will lose a tooth or develop
yeah,
severe gum disease, which eventually leads to losing teeth. And
yeah,
so you like, I'm brushing my teeth. I'm going. Why is my breath always stinking? Well, your estrogen is gone, so you probably got to do something different. And so we
yeah,
bring those people in and they talk to you. It's a half day. It's actually a little bit longer than a half day. It starts at 9 a.m. and it ends at 3 p.m. And then we keep the venue to about 5 so that you can stop at the various booths. We have testing. They do blood tests and everything. And so it's a really good time. We have a lot of fun. So don't be like, girl, don't nobody want to be talking about menopause all day. You do
I
when you
could.
do it the way we do it.
Yes.
When you do it the way we do it, we bring entertainment in there and we have a lot of fun educating you, helping you be seen, helping you be heard, helping you be understood. So that's the difference and that's what we do.
That sounds incredible. And I'm sitting here listening because we talked before about live events, and you were telling me about some
Yes.
of the things you've already done and how people would just
Mhm.
come and show up, and you were like, "Ooh, there's an audience that really wants to hear this." So for for for
Yes.
for, for the person that's listening and she's hesitating, do I want to invest or whatever? Yes, my dear. You do want to invest. And I will back up what you just said because you're spending money anyway, but you're probably spending it on different things in isolation. So coming to your event or even events similar to that, you're bringing a lot of experts into one space at the same time.
Correct.
You're getting a
Correct.
lot of expert perspectives on this one topic. So you are, I just know that the people attending will walk away with value no matter all of the various symptoms that they're feeling, all of the impacts financially or mentally or socially that they're experiencing. So to be able to have this one-stop shop, already I'm seeing that you're saving me time. You're
Yes.
saving me probably whatever, the research of trying to gather these many expert voices on my own. Instead, you're putting them all in one place. So
Yes.
it feels like a win, and I haven't even been there yet. So I'm getting all excited, and I'm not even in the space. So I'm going to encourage, the person, the woman that has tuned into this right now, that's listening and she's questioning. I'm going to say yes. If you've already questioned, is this for me? Then that means you probably need to be a part of it. But more than that, I really want to say that your perspective on menopause is very unique, but it's clicking a lot of things into place because you're right.
Okay.
The tax is almost invisible. You don't start tabulating the time, the money, the energy that you spend trying to figure all this out until you've already spent so much of it. So the work that you're doing, the angle that you're coming from, I definitely see the value. So, hey, on behalf of all the women dealing with this, I want to say, keep going, girl. Keep doing it. This is worthy work.
Thank you.
Now, I want to give you some parting words because, like I said, you've got our attention. So, in addition to coming to your live event, what do you want the ladies that are listening to you right now? What is the number one bit of advice that is super juicy that you want them to be able to walk away with and just say, okay, I heard you. I'm now going to take action. What is that?
Okay, the first one is you're not crazy. I need you to understand what you are experiencing. You are not alone and you are not crazy. It is happening to millions, millions of women around the world are going through the exact same thing. Maybe not exactly the same way, but they are experiencing many of the same symptoms that you are. So you are not crazy. Number two, know your body. Understanding when something is not right, that's a problem. When it feels a little bit off, it's off. And acknowledge that and own it and then do something about it.
Yes.
You have to do something about it. Number three, self diagnosis. Because sometimes it makes your conditions worse.
Mm,
Sometimes it does the opposite of what you wanted to do. So stop self diagnosing. We know that now there's a perimenopause and a menopause, and there are thousands of menopause specialists. Look for a menopause specialist physician. Menopause Society has a list of every city in every state that people are certified physicians that are able to run the proper test to see where you are and then put you on a treatment plan or refer you to someone who can put you on a treatment plan. But please, please, please stop self diagnosing.
absolutely. I want to reassure the woman listening to this that if she's here, I think she arrived here for a reason. So just
Okay.
like you felt called to spread this message, then she landed here at the exact right moment that she was supposed to. So what we're going to do, we are going to put Siam's information, her contact information here in the show notes so that if you're listening to this in the summer, if you're listening to it in the fall, if you're in time to attend one of her upcoming live events, we will have that available for you in the description. But more than anything, I think that the best advice is that you can seek an expert. You have one right here in the flesh that can hold your hand and guide you through it. We go through enough on our own in
For real.
isolation. It is okay for you to say, I need help. And we are blessed with an expert that is going to be one of the stopping points along your journey to getting to a healthier version of you. So, Siam Maxie, thank you, my dear. Hey, my beautiful Chicago Afro Latina telling us all this educational goodness. I thank you for being here.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Ladies, I hope that this was helpful and informative. and don't be afraid to reach out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Make sure that you leave a comment for myself and Siam because we will be monitoring that to make sure that you get the answers that you're seeking. But thank you for being here. Absolutely grateful that you decided to spend time with us. And we will see you in the next episode. So, bye bye.